Deep breaths required because it is deep dive time for the mailbag, and I'm not sure how to describe the weekend, but it really did have something for everyone, except for maybe a couple more winners.
Nothing for me.
It was a bit dire at times, and we're going to be going through a lengthy
if you count
process.
The weekend starting on Saturday morning, it was completely fucked.
Yes, and it kept going, and it kept going. But welcome to the show, Jack Dickens and Shane Ciurleo. Dicko, Flemington, you had good Moonee Valley. Flemington, how would you sum it up?
A bloodbath, a sequence of poor decisions, some bad, some stiff rides. Like when you go back now and look at, he's the greatest of all time, but Damien Oliver's ride in race
4.
Ciurleo race was just awful. They've gone that slow in that race that we should have been with the winner as well as it, but genuine sort of it and the Kira McAvoy ride in race 3 on I Am Superman, where they have walked as well, sort of set the tone there, and then from there on in some bad decisions, I think, and we're going to lose a lot. Just got to try and win the long term, but had a huge week and ended up just losing.
Girls,
it's been a long couple of soul searching nights here on the peninsula.
I'm looking at Curly and thinking soul searching has probably been done. It's come through the other side. And what's the general feeling? What's the thought process at the moment on Monday morning?
I had a meme sent to me, which I'll share on the Twitter page. Someone out of the blue sent me this. I should have been organised. Take a deep breath. It's just a bad day, not a bad life. I like that. Yeah, everything that you learn and everything that you know is rational about, what we do goes out the window. Your rational brain takes over.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just sort of and I think this is true that I've been on the right horses this month. I have no doubt about that.
I think if you
it's been on any type of half decent ride, half bit of luck. Yeah, I'm a million up. I'm a million up.
Yeah, normally today right now is the first session of our therapy sessions, but Saturday was so tough that Curly and I had one yesterday, and I'd say that going through my prices, I found the winners. I could have, but I didn't even get to. I dogged them. Poor Shane's a step ahead of that. Went better. He backed them, but then they were absolutely slaughtered. It was. I just bet them and don't watch them.
Yeah.
9 times out of 10. So I found joy in watching my money just piss away, spray away yesterday. Sort of it was comical what happened to his bets on Saturday night. We're going to roll a few replays across this as Shane sort of just lets it flow. Just let it flow, big guy. We can edit this if we have to.
I'm just gonna lay back on the couch, shut my eyes, and just let it all out.
And if we get time at the end, we'll go through some questions from Sam Griffin. Just first off the bat, we have not had a couple of goats to loosen up pre-game. Drinking at 10 o'clock in the morning on a Monday is probably not well advised after what was a pretty rough weekend. But let's start at Flemington.
I pounded a stack of them on Saturday night, and I did I just on the tools yesterday, a bit of gardening and that, and then after he had his nap, we went for a big ride, then went to the beach, got back, hot, sunburnt, and they were so tasty, and just couldn't get enough of them. They are the nectar of the gods, and I'll probably do it again tonight, just to get myself back. It's tough. It helps me get to sleep when you... Well, yeah. Anyway.
Deep dive by name, deep dive by nature. Let's start with the Australian Guineas. Was Lunar Fox findable?
And just make sure we don't forget to go over the tour de shit, as you called it, Peter, in Perth.
Yeah, that's coming up later. I've got the rundown here.
Well, yeah, I think it was at that price. I've just gone through. So I'll go through a bit of a process. I'm not finished it, but I've gone through the races, the data point, like the data suck of them. And like Lunar Fox ran a bigger figure in the Caulfield Guineas, or almost the same figure in the Caulfield Guineas as it's run here.
Yep.
So, there's a lot of... Yeah. The trainer of this winner, Paul Prushka, was once guilty of jigging horses. And as soon as he wins a big race, that's where like the sort of angry punters go. But this horse has already run this figure. Painfully, I didn't back it that day at Caulfield Guineas. I backed it 2 starts prior at Moonee Valley when I got beaten by a lot lesser horses than this. I think this horse, it makes sense that this horse won versus its price because they walked. So when they went so slow, they opened this race up to the lesser horses in this race. And this horse, Mick D and Jay Carr in this race gave 2 of the best rides you'll get in a big race. In a big field, a bit messy. They had the best runs. It shits me. I marked this horse $370. But it was $450s on the fair when it jumped. $5 on it. $5 on it. I know there's a bloke on this show who did find it and did have a little bit on it. You sick little man. But I was with ASAR. Took $850, $950. Demolished SP. It's gone completely backwards. I don't know how to... Credit to the track staff, because this track's really hard to read still. And I really find this race hard to review. You can't bag the winner. I don't think anything sort of dodgy's happened at all. It had the figure, and it had a great run, and it was going to get a good run. Now, in this race, Cherry Tortoni, Tagaloa, Zoo Dancer, Acer, Beltoro, Old Kirk, Camborne, Grand Slam, Dom to Shoot, and It's Our Time all went backwards dramatically off what they've previously run. So either there'll be some of them there that probably don't want the mile, there'll be some of them there that have had enough, but there's also a lot of them, the majority of them, that were just dampened by the slow tempo set early. I think Tagaloa wins if they go quicker. Probably the takeaway. Tagaloa is a proper beast, gets the mile, just went a bit too slow and let these, like Cherry Tortonis, be close enough.
I think the other thing to take out of it, Lunar Fox's best figures have all consistently been on good 3s. So the fact that track was obviously, it wasn't like hard, but it was the firmer surface probably helped it more so than a few of the others. But I agree. I mean, Tagaloa is the one that, if it has that more genuine tempo, I know it looked messy at the start and messy mid-race, but it wasn't necessarily quick. So it was clearly the best of those settling on speed. That's my main point.
And I don't know if it was trainer error or just, it's most likely just, the horse wasn't ready in time. I'm pretty convinced if Embolism had 2 starts, it would win. It would have won pretty well this race. It looked to me like it was winning top of the straight as he's weaving his way through, and it's peaked on its run. So maybe that means next start Embolism. I don't know if it wants to go out further and trip. It's never been beyond 1,600 metres. But it first start, it had 1 trial that we saw, only 1. Then 1 start 400 behind Tagaloa at Flemington, where it was just out the back and just got through its gears. And then, big run here. But at 6-4 was a 3.3. At 4-2 was a negative 3.6. Very big run, very big sectionals there. And it's 1.6, a negative 1.62 home. So it's lost 2 lengths there with clear air. It's just sort of peaked on its run. You'd be sick if you owned it, because I reckon it's probably just had a little step back and then missed a bit of work and just been pushed off a little bit. That's probably cost it winning Caulfield Australian Guineas.
If anyone should have been on this horse, it was me. This is owned by a couple of blokes in the ownership from my hometown, St Arnaud. They're just a little bit north of St Arnaud at Gregory. Greg Baldwin owns his horse. Seen it on social media in the build-up on Facebook and Insta and that. Never thought about it, and just like my heart completely sunk when I seen it. When I seen the price, because I had no idea of the price. Anyway, well done. It's like,
yeah, but just to clarify how sick this game is and how hard it is. Last preparation, second up at 1,500 was when I backed it.
it's only ran a 2.5 length better figure than that, which you'd expect they do with him anyway. Young horses improve,
Couldn't win an open race there. Just a 3-year-old race there at fucking Moonee Valley. Got knocked off by Flash Flood, who we've not yet seen again. Knocked off by Celestial Soul. Jay Gatsby, who runs around at Pakenham now.
But doesn't it make you feel better that, it's a stallion-making race, and again, we get to see one of these upsets?
Well, old Kirk was gone anyway.
We should talk about that. Like, how's this for peak racing? So on Friday, Peter and I mingling, talking to numerous trainers, participants. Participants is the right word, because that's what they all are, but we're not quite a participant. Then I got to Moonee Valley on Friday night, and I was sectioned off, not allowed to be near the ponies as they paraded. Had to be a certain distance away from them, so I didn't get too close to the participants. Staggering. Anyway, it looked like it might have changed on Saturday, Pete, because we were allowed really where we used to be. I don't know if there's been a restriction change, has there?
Yeah, midnight Friday night. So I'm not sure if that made all the difference, but it felt like it made all the difference. It did feel like things are pretty much back to normal. That's what you're talking about at the bar.
Yeah. The bar punters at home. The bar's where Peter went. So we went to the sales. We had a beautiful little Friday plan, me and Pistol. Go to the sales, do a bit of work, find a few ponies, learn a bit, make some notes, go and have a nice meal, freshen up, head to the Valley and bet. Well, Little Pistol's phone went off. Lady. Dropped everything, off he went. Left me by myself at the Valley, just me and Jacko, thank God.
Completely dogged you.
Unbelievable. Was it worth it?
Definitely worth it. But you had a good collect on Friday night, so yeah, it cost me. But it didn't at the same time. Never dogged the boys, except for when they'll be all right. All right, let's move on. That was the Australian Guineas. We'll go to the Blamey next, because our biggest figure on the card, Star of the Seas.
What race number is that?
Race 6.
Fascinating race, this, eh? Fascinating. Yeah. So, I want to start with Mystic Journey. Like the little bits I looked on Twitter yesterday, just completely bagging her. And she's pulled up sore or something, has she?
Something about surgery I saw. I'll just bring it up now. Keep going.
She improved 13.2 lengths on her previous start. Ran a figure of 12 above the all-average puntingform.com.au benchmark, which is the exact figure just about. It's bigger than the figure she ran at Flemington 4 starts back over the mile. So that was where she ran 7th to Shout the Bar in the Group 1 Empire Rose. It's bigger. It's a bigger figure than anything she did last preparation, bigger than previous preparation. I think she won the All-Star Mile maybe running a 16.5. That's as good as she goes just about. She went enormous.
Yeah. I mean, she's got bone chips, basically. Bone chips and bruising in her knee. But, I mean, we did sort of bring it up on the previous show. What would those 2 slow races in Tasmania do for her in terms of providing a platform? And clearly it hasn't been quite enough. But, yeah, it's still been a massive performance.
Oh, if she was still running in Melbourne next start, I'd be completely greyed up, because she's come off a big elevation in what she's had to do here. But she's run a huge figure. I thought, outside the obvious, the race is pretty obvious, I thought. I thought also, credit to Jamie Carr. I don't think she did anything real wrong with this ride, but she would have felt the pressure of going too quick and a horse stopping. I'm sure that's what jockeys fear. That's why they all want to go as slow as possible. To bounce off that into that perfection that she gave Zoo Dancer in the next race in another big race was a credit to her. She's legitimately very, very good. But outside, obviously, in that race, I thought Mahatma Deus, the old veteran, he's on track. He's going really, really well. Nick Ryan's flying. Probably want to be with it next start, provided you get a nice price. Don't know how. We've got no idea where they're going. I assume they're going to a big race, but you never know with Nick Ryan. He's very astute. Might sort of pick off an easier assignment. Don't know. That's probably it for me for race 6, Pete.
Yeah, Damien Lane wasn't afraid to give Jamie Carr a drive-by in the post-race, was he? Said something about ignoring the leader because he knew it would be a statue late.
Yeah. Fascinating behaviour. That just, to me, says that the boys have finally realised that she's legitimate and she's going to take your rides.
Yeah.
Because it's all like political showmanship at that end, isn't it?
But
pension rides. I want to ride this. I want to ride that. This is go time for them. This is when they if they pick the right horses right now, they can buy the 17th property.
Yeah.
This is when they get that money. So it's big. It's go time for jockeys. I did enjoy that little piece of work from D-Lane. Loved it.
I thought it was good. And just quietly, how much does Nerf Boss Kate Melbourne? He's just like me. Just doesn't perform over here. It's all about getting back to the West is best. Race 5, the Bob Hoysted. This is probably the greyest race of the day for yourself, Dickens, isn't it? Because it was won by the grey.
Well, yeah, just completely fucked this up. I don't know. I just was speaking to you, Curly. What price did I say? 230. I marked this horse 230. I didn't bet because it wasn't scary enough in the parade.
It was, yeah.
Because this horse had a traditionally nice setup for this race, which we didn't think was what this horse wanted. It's got more improvement to come. I don't think it ran to its ceiling. So maybe we were a little bit sort of on the money, but it was still too good for these. Big mistake, big regret.
I think I know hindsight is wonderful, but we delved pretty deep into this horse and looked for reasons in the review show why not to back it. One of them was a normal racing pattern, might have been maybe a month between runs, and it was 2 weeks or something, or sometimes the obvious just stares you in the face, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, it's too obvious, and you start to question why this is so obvious.
It's like Lambourne's thing, paralysis by overanalysis. I overthought this. Thought one of the most interesting horses on the day off an elite Geelong trial was Montessira. It absolutely hemorrhaged in betting. One of the looked like it would definitely be probably the biggest go of the day until race 9. But I couldn't believe the price it was when we sat down back upon the P&O ship cruise. And settled into our work. It was an absolute steamer, this thing. Hummer ran past it, so to the eye you're like, pretty plain. In the end of the day, Montessira has it's clocked a career PB here of 11.1. First up. If anything, maybe a knock on the stable, poor placement. Because this horse was airborne. The money was right. It just ran into a straight track bully in Papagino and in Indian Pacific, who they were there to win. It's got enormous. What I'm trying to say. Should have picked a better race for it. Don't know where they go with it, but it's fucking airborne and it's a really nice horse. I thought it was reasonably forward in the yard, Pete. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought so too. I'm not sure how much more condition will come, and again, those. I know we've spoken about this a lot on the Sydney show with Mark Roden about horses that record career PBs first up and whether or not they can elevate off them or if they fall apart next start. So see what the market does with it, because it's got that pretty strong SP.
Yeah, completely caved. Biggest steamer of the day until race 9, which was Charlotte, which was another big mistake.
All right, so let's run through it.
Well, when it was $10 when they opened and we did prices on Thursday, I marked it $5.80.
Yep.
And I didn't bet. I don't know why, but I didn't. Then when you got to understand this stage of the day. Like mentally, I'm exhausted. I'm flat. Of not in a good way. I don't know what they are really in the yard by this stage of the day either. And we both looked at each other and said, this 11's like outstanding. Easily like the pick of the yard ahead of anything here by a mile. Oh, it's Charlotte. Sweet. I remember I found that. That's a bet. Oh, hang on. It's 470. Let's think on it. All right, look down again. It's 420. This is the fair, so it's probably $4 already, the plastics. It absolutely hemorrhaged. It was like a motorbike. It was like a V12 versus V8. This thing, it's just hooning around the outside under a hold. This horse is a beast. Proper horse. Follow it. It can pick off some really good races. This thing, really exciting horse. Only thing that beats it is track pattern. I think it's definitely a Flemington sort of horse. One of the biggest Cleveland steamers of the day was
not just of the day. This is all time.
Mate, Paul's Regret, Curly.
It's jumped. Paul's Regret. I'm just getting it up here. It's jumped $5.26 on the fair. Best tote was $8.40. It's jumped $8 on all the plastics. This thing's gone off from about $9 into $5.20 as the gates have opened.
And it was already steaming before that.
Oh, it was $15 when we left the yard. We get upstairs, it's $9. It jumps $5.26. Pike in the last, they just fucking love it.
Oh, no one's moving the money like that because of Pike in the last. For fuck's sake, mate. But see, it was amazing, wasn't it?
I don't think I've ever seen anything. Not like you see it in Hong Kong. I don't think I've ever seen that in Australia, where the corporates are still just at $8.50 across the board.
Geez, it'd be good if there was a show dedicated to actually talking about what happened in the wagering.
Through to the keeper. You've got one more for me. Race 4.
Oh, sweet Jesus. Kind of talked about it. I think you can forgive Lavarod. It was a bad ride. Forgive it. Even the great ones get them wrong sometimes. I do think like some of the biggest, best riders in Victoria, I don't know if it's the same in Perth, same in Sydney, same in Queensland curls, but I really think if there is a weakness to like the Olivers, Williams, Zaras, it's leaders. It's not always either. It's just sometimes. But if Michael Poy rode this thing or like Georgie Cartwright and just like handlebars down, I think it goes a lot closer to winning. In run, it was sickening when we were on. It was just Subadar was just smoking the pipe right behind us. It was winning this race from about 800, I thought. Killed him. Street Icon went well. Is going well. Third up next start. Probably a bet. Street Icon in the right race. Lavarod, I want to be with it down the straight. But, yeah. This Sabadar's a beast, though. Like, there's so much about this setup that it wasn't sort of what I want. Like, it was back and trip. It was enormous first up in Sydney. I did the review show that week, replacing UP, and just was skimming through the data as I tried to host a show, which is not a skill I have, and it just stood out like dog's balls, this horse. And I actually black booked it, and I kept checking every sort of Thursday, seeing if it was in, and it was never in. It was 49 days between runs. It had 2 trials which were elite, which I watched, and I think it was supposed to go to 1400 because its peak figure was over 1600 metres. It's just completely grey. But big performance, nice horse. This, I think they want the firm ground too, so potentially we'll keep seeing it in Melbourne. I suspect it steps up to 1400 metres next start.
Yep. That was the first time it's ever raced under 1300. Just quickly on Lavarod. First up, last prep, was beaten 1.5 lengths behind Indian Pacific, who we saw in Fabigino's race, nearly knock her off. Second up, last prep, beat Celebrity Queen, who dead hated the Oakley.
See what I'm saying? Fuck me. Like, it's hard. This game's so hard. But the best part about the game is we can vent it out today. reset and start sort of looking at Wednesday's form. We got another opportunity to
Go again.
fix our wrongs.
Mind you, fourth up last prep, Leverod was beaten by Nerf Bosk, who ran 15 lengths last. So you got to balance it all out. Okay.
Yeah, but Leverod had a jump out at Flemington, which was elite.
Yep. Let's leave Flemington. Let's head north. We're looking at Toowoomba and the value of position in run.
So just taking the opportunity on today's show, Pistol, to talk about the value of maps and getting that right and understanding conditions, and the extra layer of complexity I have betting into Toowoomba at the moment is the level of jocks that are riding there, right? So if you take Saturday, for example, you had Sunshine Coast, A-graders, generalisation. Gold Coast during the afternoon, B-graders. Rockhampton during Saturday afternoon as well, where a lot of Brisbane and Gold Coast-based jocks fly up there to ride, C-graders. And then you're left with the D-graders, if you like, on a Saturday night at Toowoomba.
One thing I will say for the D-graders is,
and when I say D-graders, I'm saying the best available jocks ride. That's where the meeting ranks in order, right? Because if you're a B, C grade jockey, it's much more fun flying to Rockhampton to ride Saturday afternoon, where you're not riding against a heap of inexperienced kids. You're not going to get knocked over and risk your life. You can just go around for fun, have a beer with the boys afterwards, fly back to Briz, Ben Monday. Which is a lot better than having to travel to Toowoomba, ride it in the last race at 9:30 at night, fearing for your life, and then driving back down to Brisbane and getting home at 11:30.
Well, race 6, should we start there? Because despite the incompetence of the ride, incredibly brave.
So race 6, right? Let's do race 6. I'm going to actually, I'll watch the replay as well, just while we're going, and then obviously we'll overlay it. So alert and ready. Resuming now, not publicly, what didn't public barrier trial, but it had a jump out. So I saw the jump out. Now alert and ready sat outside the leader and beat horses like Monday and Lady Faye by a conservative 30 metres on the bridle. So I approached this race where.
Hang on, those two horses are in this race.
Are in this race. Both those horses are in this race. The other horse out of the jump outs was a horse called Bean Dancing, who was trialled in a different heat, showed really good ability, the only danger. Now, Alert and Ready normally gets back in its runs, and if you have a look through Alert and Ready's form, all Saturday City class, running into horses like Sweet Dolly, who was brilliant on Saturday at the Sunshine Coast in the Aquis Duel preview race, and he's going to go and start favourite in a $500,000 race next Saturday. So Alert and Ready's chased it and among others, and just a class above these. But it'll be back. Bean Dancing, I think, will be on speed. So I'm going to absolutely bet this race hard because I've got a good handle on these horses. Right? I know that they're first starters, and thank you to everyone on Twitter who potted me for betting on 2-year-olds and after timing the reasons why. So I've launched into Bean Dancing, knowing that Alert and Ready will get out a little bit late and it'll cop $1.70, $1.80 to chop the bet out. Only 2 hopes. Roll the tape. So Alert and Ready is going to go back. Bean Dancing will be somewhere near the speed. So Bean Dancing's begun and tried to muster. It's going to get crossed. Alert and Ready's last here, which I thought it would be. So I thought, well, Golsey's just going to take hold here. And, they've settled in about the right spot. Golsey takes off 3 wide at the 800. He's over racing. He's then 4 wide at the 800. He's over racing and restraining. Bean Dancing's inside it. Meanwhile, Monday, and I don't know what the other horses are. Add a Girl, whatever, who cares? The other horse is 3 wide. So that leaves the favourite now 3 wide with cover. Been dancing in between them. The favourite's been over racing and carrying on, and just waiting for Been Dancing to get out. Now, this is like pretty scary here. This isn't a 3 kilo apprentice on Been Dancing who is not steering this horse, and is like for some reason thinking it's going between them. There's not like she's lucky she didn't kill herself, to be honest. That horse nearly went down on its head. And gets to the outside and flashes home. It was the biggest moral beat of the night.
She hasn't been able to because she almost went down.
Well, I'm going to tell you
once.
I'm going to tell you why, and I actually might save it. I'll save my summary for these at the end of this, because it's an important point I want to make. Not that anyone's going to listen that can make a difference here, but I'll save it for the end. Race 1 was another race that we bet into, and I encourage everyone. I think we're going to roll the replay here. I just want to show the start, and then from the top of the straight. So we're back to a horse called Dancing Angel, 3 kilo kid on. You watch every race, this horse is ridden the same way. She jumps good. She just presses the button and rolls forward. Today she jumps in front and grabs hold. Goes back and slots into a nice 4 wide position, midfield, no cover. Now, you might be sitting there listening, saying, "Oh, good on you, Curly. You're a fucking hero, mate. You're potting 3 kilo apprentices, How many winners have you ridden? All right, I'll tell you in a minute. So this thing's widest runner. I even got off my chair at the 200 saying this thing's going to still win. I'm a genius. And she just petered out, the final little bit. Probably gone under a length. Well, you'd say 2, probably 2 lengths. Now,
mate, she's 4 or 5 wide turning. She circles them, hits the front, and is going to win, and then just gets tired and stops.
And that happens, right?
She's 10 wide. She's 10 wide entering the straight.
Yeah, I know, Jack. I've seen it.
Just waving the whip at it.
Thanks, Jack.
It's hit the front.
Now, yeah, no, it did hit the front. And one of the head movement. Like she's one of the most. Anyway, race 2. I want to go to race 2 now. This things happen in racing, right? But I don't deserve this. I didn't deserve this, right? After the first,
I think also this is after 2 at Rockhampton, which if you're a subscriber and watch the ride.
So I'm not going to show the replays for Rockhampton because we've only got 3 hours on this show, not 6. I've backed 2 horses at Rocky that have both jumped in front and ended up second last the fence.
Oh, yeah.
Like restrain, right? So I'm not saying anything untoward's going on there. I'm saying...
Doesn't look good.
It's just like, come on, right? Anyway, race 2. This sort of hurt me a little bit because, sometimes you look back and you think, I'm so glad when I got killed in this race that it was at the start, but you watch the start, this horse has gone on its nose. A couple of things, you just show the first 50 metres and pause it. I want to just point a couple of things out, right? So there's the first, oh my fucking God. So we're on the inside horse with the white blinkers, Ma Hussey, another horse that had jumped out really well and was resuming in a filthy, dirty benchmark 55 from gate 1. Purely just sit on it and it wins, right?
It's horse.
Come out on its nose. Now, here's the things I want to point out to talk about maps and how crucial they are. And another horse that we were on, and I want you to watch this as the tape rolls. Here you can watch this run from just before the home turn. So from the start here, you see Ma Hussey's missed the start. The horse just outside it is in the black and yellow colours on settling is a horse called Red Zeb. All right, so you can keep an eye on it in run as well and see where it ends up. Now, it's a horse that we sort of on a little bit on small last start that had a nice map. And, I thought Ma Hussey's a better horse, so I didn't back it today. But I just watched where it ends up. And then you've got a horse and a jockey. And this is another thing I want to point out when I'm talking about map. There's a horse called Unusual Aunt. If you see at the start, it's in the red sleeves, blue Silks. It's second last on jumping away, right? It started 50s on the fair. It was 11s out to 34s. It probably should have been 500s, right? So as the race unfolds, she's missed the start on the 50 to 1 shot and has driven it 7 deep, circled them from the start, gone up to attack the leaders. Ma Hussey's been able, the horse that we're on has been able to, nothing's crossed him, so he's been able to pick himself up and settle in behind the leader perfectly. Meanwhile, the 50 to 1 shot's half a length in front, 3 deep, taking on the leaders. I mentioned Red Zeb. The kids sat on it and let it drop 2 lengths behind the second last horse at the 600. We're perfectly placed here with Ma Hussey.
This is the stroke one.
Just watch what happens from the corner here, from the Moore Trailers sign at the 400. Go, Ronnie. Played statue. Got going again at the 150. Tough watch. You might notice the horse in the yellow blinkers just beating us home. Red Zeb.
Did he lose his irons there? Like, what happened?
I don't know what happened. It looked like he had a stroke.
The stewards report.
He just froze. He just froze for a bit, then he got back into his work. And the thing in the yellow that was no intent is just savage the line.
Says that resulted in the saddle shifting to the near side, placing Ronnie in some difficulty for some distance. So I'm not blaming the jockey there at all. I'm just saying, like, you know, how do you nearly go on your nose at the start and then, you know, lose your saddle on the corner? It's just a sick piece. Like, it's just...
You gotta laugh about it because it's the only thing.
Now, let me just paraphrase what I was trying to get at as far as trying to bet at Toowoomba at the moment and these jockeys, right? So I'm not here to bag 3 kilo apprentice jockeys because they're learning, right? The problem we've got is they're not being taught, right? So I contacted so rather than completely lose me shit and like go and bash me nan or something, I thought I'd do a little bit of research, and I contacted a couple of jockeys. I said, tell apprentice jockeys that are currently in the system in Queensland. I said, tell me about the process of what you're being taught, how you're being taught, you know, how you can improve as a jock. And they said, like, 100% of survey participants, and Racing Queensland is a registered trading organisation, so they get paid for complete paper. We don't race replays. We don't talk about style, or we don't practice. We just got to do paperwork. So these kids are getting up at 3 in the morning, writing 10 work, going home and sleeping, trying to fit in a social life. They're earning good coin, but there's no push from anyone in any area of, in any area within racing to say this is a minimum requirement. Those kids that rode in those races, that girl nearly killed herself on that bean dancing.
Yeah, which would be from like the pressure of trying to like not let people down.
Well, it's just like, you know, like someone's got to be teaching them. Like, if you're held up like that, you're a 3 kilo apprentice. What we want to see you do is just relax your mount for a stride and get to the outside. It's a 5-horse field.
Yeah, and also the horse outside is $1.75 favourite, so you're probably going to get a good toe in.
Yeah, don't go doing that, you know. So my anger on Saturday night at the result sort of turned into, you know, trying to understand the reasoning for what was going on here. Like, you know, we had there's example, like, you know, what's that girl doing missing the start on a 50 to 1 shot and then hunting it 7 deep to go and attack the leaders 3 wide? I tell you what she's doing. She's not giving her horse every permissible chance. Right, and that needs to be drummed into them. They can't, and they'll keep serving this shit up in Queensland, and people will just continue to not bet and laugh at it like we do every Monday.
Well, I'll keep betting on it. But yeah,
we're betting on it because it's like spending $100 on going to the movies. You have your $100 on your horse, and then you enjoy the show.
You win, lose or draw. Yeah,
win, lose or draw. Sometimes good, sometimes not. What's the saying? Sometimes shit, sometimes not so shit. It's a comedy. It's like borderline.
It really is. It really is.
We had an instance at the Gold Coast on Saturday where I had one early bet, only to start ask questions why the races have been put back to, because a part of the track was deemed unsafe to race on, so they moved the rail out, like 2.5 meters on a rail that was already out 6 or something. So, you change, the fence becomes dynamite, and then the bet you have, the kid sits behind the leader and drifts to the middle of the track and runs second beaten length when the fence is dynamite. So small things that are, clearly that some jocks, some of the, and probably the ones with lesser ability, the kids with lesser ability are going to be the kids that are going to get less time spent on them. And it's dangerous, and it's no wonder senior jocks aren't tripping over themselves to come up and ride against them,
Yeah.
That's how I see it. I'm not carrying on about, and kids for bad rides or anything like that. What I'm questioning is, the future of these kids. Clearly they're not getting their support.
Yeah, I think it's the sport.
Hey, that's not my opinion. That's me asking them what the hell's going on. What happens?
Yeah, and it's for the sport's betterment that
Sports
each
betterment.
and every participant is given every opportunity to further their education and become better at what they do. Like, what you're saying is so spot on for riders, and we expect them to be educated. The whole thing's funded by wagering, and like there's no educational information content provided by any racing body which is dependent on the wagering, and they expect that this river will just flow forever.
There is absolutely no doubt that they are expecting this river to flow forever. We've already seen in the news the point of consumption tax reviews happening in some states. It's exactly what they expect. I think the stewards have got a bit to answer for there as well. I think they find it very easy to grill these kids. It was well documented, my displeasure at the ride on Smooth Move on Thursday at Eagle Farm or Doomben, wherever it was, and just the inconsistencies of some senior jocks' efforts, I suppose. But one good sign was yesterday for those. We didn't bet into the race. We had a small winning day at the Sunny Coast. And talking about sick beats, we backed 2 horses in one race there. Mashani Conman, the horse that we're on at Toowoomba to start before at $15, right? So we backed it yesterday at $9, and we're on without knowing who I think is a serious horse for serious. When I say serious horse, serious Queensland horse. Now, Mashani Conman had that run, had to go back to the trials, had a jump out Tuesday, won the jump out, goes back to the races Sunday. James Ormonroe gives it a peach without knowing he's out the back, getting held up everywhere. The con man kicks for home. We're 4 in front at the 200. And this without knowing he's come from last and won. So we won on the day, we won on the race, but con man sort of haunted us again because we were on it at like $10, and it went 10s into 5s after we pulled the trigger. Anyway, the interesting race for me, this is my last one because I'm nearly over it. Yesterday at the Sunshine Coast, there was an interesting betting fluctuation in, I've got the stewards report here. Race 5, was it? Sorry. David Van Dyke, well-backed runner.
Race 5.
Race 5, Cotton Fields. Now, DVD produced a first starter who tried like Farlap, and it won like it. Well, it won easily anyway, which is called Karaka Lad. There was 80,000 matched on him. He was an obvious one for me. Obviously not sending it at those prices. He then won the next on Toowoomba, which was reasonably solid in the market. 12,000 matched on Betfair. Then race 5, he was looking for a triple trio, whatever you call them, when you win 3. Ryan Maloney on board. 60,000 matched. got as short as even money on the plastics, and then with about 5 minutes to jump, whatever it was, 8 minutes. Then got out on the fair to 270. And if you watch the replay of race 5 at the Sunshine Coast yesterday, from about approaching the corner, lap full of pony, decides to go inside rather than to the outside where the winners had been coming all day. Just not what you'd expect from one of Queensland's leading jockeys. But what we did get was what we should get every week, and we got a stewards inquiry, and that's what I think needs to happen. On these types of those types of ride from the seniors. I think they spend too much time giving apprentices hard times for bad rides. Apprentices, need to be riding more, not less. They don't need to be given time for bad rides. They need to be riding more. And anyway, so we've got a stewards inquiry here. They've adjourned the inquiry into the tactics. If you watch from the 600, he goes inside, gets completely held up. Champagne Toots was pretty solid, and a little bit of money laid on the fair for it. Sort of Robbie Frad went where Ryan Maloney didn't and won the race. And I just think asking the question, we've said this plenty of times before, is what punters would rather see than just to play on. That's the job of the stewards, to ask those questions for the integrity of the wagering side of it, for sure. But anyway, Sunshine Coast Saturday was really good. The Metro meeting was very profitable. The Gold Coast was break even and whatever else, but Saturday night was horrific.
Well, speaking of stewards' inquiries, there's no theme song to the Tour de France, is there?
Oh, there's a lot of correlation there, I tell you.
It actually follows on perfectly well. Race 7 at Ascot. And look, I have to preface this by saying I do have a share in the runner-up who did jump $1.60. And there is a stewards' inquiry that's also been adjourned. So, we'll wait and see what comes as a result of that. But if you ever want to get people betting into the sport, a lot of people would have had multis going into Ciurleo, even money, whatever, jumps $1.60. Obviously was always going to get some level of control, but our stable, expected something along the lines of these tactics.
What race number?
Race 7. So you have a look on the replay. We'll bring it up just so we can watch it from the start. There's 5 horses in cerise and white, which makes things a little bit difficult, but the horse that ends up being the leader is jumping out at gate 8 with the cerise and white hat. So you have to watch that. And basically, as soon as the gates open, we're talking about a horse that only in its last start settled something remotely on speed where it wasn't ridden. It's ridden as soon as the gates open. It's under some level of riding. There could have been a move to take the horse back to try and restrain for cover. Doesn't happen. Pushes towards the outside of the leader, which is to be expected. There was no real tempo in this race at all out of Ciurleo. Now, could opt to sit there, but the horse is being niggled out going in towards that first turn, entering the back straight, and is eyeballing the leader. Settles into its rhythm at the 1200. Then going into the 1000, Jock opts to take up and have another go and takes the lead this time. Which again, you're entitled to do if you're riding to give your...
You're not entitled. This doesn't give... He's outside lead, outside a $1.70 favourite. This does not give his horse every possible chance of winning.
Yeah, you cut me off. That's what I was saying.
This fucks his horse's chances of winning.
Yeah.
I'll say it for you. His tactics fucked his horse's chances of winning, which is illegal.
Yeah. Well, especially when there's 4 wearing the same colours in the race.
I want to finish inside the top 3. I've not watched this before.
Yeah, so he hits the front at the 600. Now, it's actually slowing down going into the turn. So the horse actually starts stopping. And when you have a look at the sectionals on Punting Form, it's interesting to note.
Oh, my God. It's last already. You haven't even gone past 100.
Just for those watching at home and they want to watch the replay, where do you find the replay?
It's on the Chris website. We'll post a little link, but we're overlaying it at the moment anyway.
Yeah.
That's disgraceful.
So it ends up beating 11 lengths. I'm not sure you can call it team riding if none of the other teams good enough to win the race, but in the end, the winner was Simon Miller's horse, Brave Angel, who actually beat home Ciurleo in the champion fillies. It was a wet track that day, and it is very much it looks like a wet type. It's a proper horse with some level of ability, so you can't really fault the winner. It was just the general decision-making and tactics when there's 5 wearing the same colours. And obviously the stewards...
What's the data say, Peter?
Well, it was a slowly run race to the 600, 2.6 lengths slow, which isn't horrendously slow.
There's some defence for the guy to take off, or the girl, but, like, fuck me.
Yeah.
You can't finish last by 30 lengths after doing that.
That's probably the concern. And it wasn't as if the pace dramatically slackened. Testing Love's run the fastest 1,000 to the 800 and then has run the slowest 600 to 400. So it was just a general... The reason it was a shit show, to, paraphrase, pardon my French, it was just a very stop-start race, but it did look like the intent of the horse settling outside the leader was to try and maintain pressure at all times on the favourite. And as I was saying, if that's a different horse wearing a different set of silks, it's entitled to do it. But when they're all wearing the same colours, it doesn't necessarily provide a good look. And again, I didn't have anything invested on the race because I'm not going to have 5 figures when I'm already collecting prize money. But
at that price.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of punters would look at that and go, well, that's a pretty bad look.
Even if it wasn't the same silks, that ride to my eye, this is the first time I watched it, that ride to my eye was to basically ruin the chances of the favourite. For whatever reason.
Yeah.
That ride gave their mount none.
Thought she handled it pretty well.
I thought so.
The ride on the second horse.
I thought so too. I know a few people said, did she panic? Did she go too early? I don't think so at all. In fact, Ciurleo's ran the fastest 400 to the 200 and only just peaked over that last, 100 metres or so. That's the best opportunities to try and gap this field. And
it's that side-on vision, Peter.
Yeah.
It's like they're just before they go past the 800, you got like a head-on, like stewards vision kind of shot, and you see, who is it?
It's Paddy Carberry on the outside, but I'm not going to hang Carberry because it looked like it was clear, stable instructions from the start to use the horse up. It could have been any jockey on board.
Yeah, I'm happy to hang him. You can see that his elbow movement changes, and he goes, fuck it. And his horse is travelling too before he does it.
Well, that was the funny thing, is I sent it out in the message to the members pre-race, and I said, look, you can't bet in this race because with 5 wearing the same colours, something's going to happen. And everyone expected it to be the case. It was the pre-race instructions to Lucy was like, just be wary, something could happen here. But I actually thought, and I don't think we found anything out of this race. I don't think we know if any of these horses will be suitable going up to the 2200 or to the Oaks over 24. And I don't think we found out which of the Cerise and White were potentially the best. I thought going into the race they would have no idea who the best was this year because there was no clear standout. And I actually thought Testing Love might have been the best of them. But again, it's been completely barbecued here, and that's probably the last time we see it this autumn.
Yeah, I
thought, like you said, Curls, her ride on your horse, Pete, was very, very, very good.
Yeah.
Look, the other thing to consider as well is like your horse, Ciurleo, she's up to 1800. So, of course you're just going to go and barbecue it from the 800 to get it beat. Like, pretty straightforward, isn't it, from a team riding perspective?
Yeah, I guess they're all queries going up in distance for the first time.
Yeah. They're all queries going up in distance, so let's choose the one we don't think's going as good, and we'll use it to barbecue you and see if the others can stay or not.
Yeah,
like it's pretty simple. I don't know how you steward that type of race. You just, effectively it's a running and handling charge because you've given your mount no opportunity to win.
Yeah.
So the horse in question, the Testing Love, went 5 lengths faster than it's ever gone in its life to the 600, and previous to that, it has gone disgracefully slow. It had no base to handle that tempo, and it was up 400 metres in trip. So off those like three absolute walks and then one walk going up 400 meters, if you own it, train it, ride it, you want this horse to get as soft a time as possible to get the 1800 meters, not expose it like that.
Yeah,
I think it's a fucking disgrace.
I wonder if does anyone know? And I wonder if we could find out when the stewards have an inquiry. Are they sitting down this morning and looking at the replay and dissecting the sectional data?
You'd certainly hope so.
Interesting, eh?
Yeah.
I don't know.
You must have the sectional data. It's like how, to the eye, you thought Montessori was a bit plain at Flemington because Hummer Hummer ran past it, but then it's run a career peak. Like, it's gone good.
Yeah.
Mystic Journey gone good because you see the numbers.
Yeah.
Surely they're using the data.
You often wonder because you'll see often in Queensland stewards reports, and I don't read other states, so I don't know, but you'll often see stewards question the poor performance of runner X. And then you look at the data and you go, what are they asking for? It's run a PB, or it's,
I think
run
in regard to this, the stewards have a chance to do a good job. I think a lot of the time they're under too much pressure to, like, it's not feasible for them to conclude things accurately that quickly.
Totally agree.
I think like the bigger things like this need to take 2 or 3 days. I think that they still frustrate you what the reports say. Like the Miss Catherine on Friday night at the Valley, it said horse did not perform to market expectation because it missed a start, sat 4 wide and went shithouse. Well, it was $4 out to $8. It performed exactly to the market expectation. Now, whether they're using that sort of information, I don't know. Well, they just say, at $8 it should have gone better than that. We were on, and we knew we were gone before it started.
Bit going on in Victoria.
At the same time, not much,
Nothing to see here.
I just wish they could, like, the absolute time travel that is watching Victoria, like Subadir, Mount Olympus, stack of Sydney horses came down. I Am Superman. You watch their trials, you can clearly articulate who it is against. The vision's clear as hell, but it's like a camera that is like meant for making TV. You could probably clock them too if you wanted to, like very easily. And then like trying to watch a trial of like something like Moody's or Stokes from Pakenham, and it looks like Pistol's doing it fucking on the drink off his iPhone, and it says like pink, and it's not pink. Like it is such a it's disgraceful. It's really bad.
Hey,
I don't know how they haven't the amount of money that is in this sport and in this state. The jump outs and trials are shambles, and it's it actually like it makes it more tempting, and they often charge someone every now and again for putting in the wrong horse and setting them up like that, putting them in under wrong names. Mm-hmm. And the worst part is like .com and RSN and they like they'll do anything for more content. Like it's good, usable, watchable content, probably every morning. And they'll probably get the participants, the riders, some more money. The ones that do go and do the jump outs and complain about the hours. Get them paid more. There's got to be enough money there for it. Like we've got a ridiculous All-Star Mile in 2 weeks where there's like 2 horses that can probably win. There's horses that shouldn't even be in the state, like that Harrovian shouldn't have even been here for that race on Saturday, let alone the All-Star Mile.
Yes. Save that for another day.
It actually hit the line okay, if you look at the data, so it might be going okay, but yeah, it's just frustrating. Like Haydock jumped out at a Voca. And the camera's like, yeah, I think it went alright. Yeah, okay, going well. Well, they can still play games and do lots of stuff when it's on TV, you know, like saddles and shoes and all that stuff, Curls, that you know better than anyone. But it's just it's pleasant. It's pleasant watching the jump outs and trials in Sydney, and then it gives you the confidence to bet.
It's the benchmark.
Whereas you might watch a few jump outs in Victoria, and you might see some good commentator ones at Geelong, but then two other horses jumped out at Balnarring, and you're not sure if it's them. Which one was it? It looks a little bit different.
Yep.
The answer, like what I'll do there 4 times out of 5, is just pen the race and not bet, not wager, not fund the industry.
Well, it could be worse, Jack. You could find the jump outs, identify the 2 horses, absolutely lose your brain and overbet them and just have 99% of your fucking roll on it to watch those horses be stiff.
Or you could find one that you're very confident has been misnamed, has gone good, looks like it went quick versus the day versus those trials, and have a large amount of your bank on it for it only to drift from $2.70 to $5 and run like a busted.
As I said, that one, you have to follow next start. You tick every box, and then it doesn't go out and produce. You just put a line through the run, whatever the reason. Trust the trial. I think trusting the trials is actually one of the things I've learned over the last 6 to 12 months.
I think there's a lot in the... I've started really focusing on it. Like that, D. Bowman's winner had 2 really nice trials.
Yeah.
But again, it's hard to line them up because it's somewhere I've never been to. It's on grainy vision. It's so grainy that you can't really tell how other horses are being ridden and how they look and what sort of saddle and yeah, it's just hard. It's harder than it should be, but it's not the product that it should be for what I believe and they would believe is the best racing product in Australia.
Well, I mean, you've got your own media arm down there, and there seems to be like kind of a level of like complacency / apathy throughout the entire industry because we are a nation of fucking degenerate gamblers, and the rivers of gold continue to flow.
Well, the rivers of gold did dry up pre-COVID. They slowed right down. So the rivers of gold is going to be pretty interesting over the next year.
It will be, but I'll tell you one thing will happen over the next year, Jack, is we'll still be betting, and whether they're running for fucking ribbons or $1 billion, I couldn't give a shit. I'll be betting on it, and probably with running a service, and not that you're looking for action, but there's a lot of meetings. There's a lot of meetings we can get involved with, and something that I've record keeping and learning along the way is like. I still think you've got to have your small bets on the horses that you still think can win even with a bad jock at times. If you think the setup's right and you've still got to be on it, you get an ounce of luck. Like
our conversation this morning,
huge turnaround, an ounce of luck there on the weekend, and I'm winning fucking triple 300%.
Everything's got a price, I guess.
Everything's got a price, and I think all you can do. I had another fella message me last night about a run of luck that he was having, and I said bad luck means you're on the right horse. You're just having a little bit of bad luck. Like if they should have won, you're on the right horses. Just got to keep penalising the horse for the jockey downgrade or upgrade it for the jockey switch and bet accordingly.
Yeah, that's like
whether the race is worth $1 billion or a ribbon.
We did a stack of work on Thursday, so we were on a Skype call, sort of betting together, and like that thing, I dusted 7 units at Kilmore, but we had 1.5 at $8 on that thing that should have absolutely pissed in. It's a winning day, but it's a strip. But it's just luck. It'll turn. It has to. It always does. It turns both ways, unfortunately.
Well, with the week ahead in Victoria, anyway, what have we got? Lakeside. Hopefully.
Lakeside. Sandown has been the heart that keeps the Victorian mailbag pumping.
I'm just
good again to us last Wednesday. We'll do a preview on RSN tomorrow with Gareth. all of us will be on doing our respective regions. We've got Werribee into Pakenham on Thursday, which I'll likely bet at. And glorious Cranny Friday night, which I don't know if I'll provide like a deep service for, but we'll probably be betting. And unless Pistol gets a text message late, we'll probably be attending.
Let's not get too carried away. Cramping on a Friday night. Get back into the city at midnight, straight to Revolver. Away we go.
You can crash in the pod.
Not if I'm backing up at Flemington the next day. The Super Saturday.
We will be. Super Saturday. Huh.
Meanwhile, up in Queensland, Kells, what have we got? Just a standard week of just Doomben, Ipswich.
Doomben Wednesday.
Wednesday.
Back on the Wednesday.
We're back to Wednesdays now, which I'm very grateful for. In better news, there's no Toowoomba this Saturday night because it's Super Saturday out at Dalby with the Dalby and Chinchilla Dalby Newmarket, the Lightning Handicap, and the International Women's Day Dalby Maiden over 1400. It's a huge card out there on Saturday, which is great. I'll be reporting live from Dalby on Saturday, but yeah, Doomben Wednesday. There's some nice horses resuming. There's some nice horses Wednesday at Doomben. I'm looking forward to that meeting, actually. I'll be there. Thursday, we'll pick the eyes out of them at Ippy. Friday, they're at Rocky, which is now known as an RDO. The Eagle Farm Saturday afternoon, Dalby Saturday afternoon, and Gold Coast Saturday afternoon. And we'll pick the eyes out of the Sunshine Coast Sunday.
Peter, where are we betting on Thursday?
Because I've got
my advice to anyone at home is very astute, like select service pistols. Get on board and get it, and if you bets anything on a Thursday, times that by 3.
Tallied it up, and since we've been going through the service, running at just under 80% pot on Thursdays, so I'm not sure what that actually means, because it's very similar to a Wednesday and very similar to a Sunday, but something about Thursdays goes well. Pinjarra Wednesday, Albany is at Albany's Thursday, which is even better. Geraldton Friday, Ascot Saturday, wowee, and there's actually York today as well, so I'll jump into that straight after we finish up here.
Oh yeah, it might be a world record deep dive, boys.
Yeah, it was a big one.